What's going on, everyone? Talen here, and welcome to another Marvel Future Fight video. Alright, so as you can see on the screen here, I did get access to the APK, so we get a little bit of an early look at the new characters here. The first one that I happened to look out and test a little bit was Professor X, so that's who this video is going to be about today. Before we jump into that, the standard disclaimer: this video is brought to you by Netmarble and the Star Agents program, and also all of the kind of values, numbers, costs, and all of that stuff can be changed from now until the final build, so all of it is still under consideration, we'll put it. So yeah, some of that stuff can change, so do keep that in mind. I'm just going to show you what I have here for the APK and how the character should look in the final build, or pretty close to how they'll look in the final build. So Professor X here is actually going to be a crystal character, well, not a full crystal character, a Danger Room crystal character. If you buy the special training package, so he's going to be the same as Negasonic and Rachel Summers, and I'm assuming it's going to be the same cost. I have no reason to believe otherwise, because as you can see, I already have him unlocked here, so I can't see what the package would have cost or anything like that, so I'm just going to assume that it's around the same price. So yeah, he's another one of those Danger Room characters, which I don't really have too much of a problem with the Danger Room characters, just in terms of kind of the cost. Like the crystal cost for getting them to tier 2, I think is actually a really good deal, if you know, compared to if you're going to use a mega rank up ticket and then a tier 2 ticket on the character, then it's definitely a really good deal. And I'm assuming just a regular tier 2 ticket, not a mega tier 2 ticket. When I say that, I think that the kind of crystal cost is pretty good, but of course that's if you actually get the training package, because as you know, it is on a timed thing. So if you come in the game later, then yeah, you kind of have to grind it out to unlock the Danger Room characters, which is a little bit sad, but I guess it is what it is. So that's what Professor X is looking like so far for how you unlock him. And yeah, he does start off as tier 3, as you can see here. We do have him fully upgraded on the test account here, so I can show off the tier 3 and all of that. The character has his gears at 25, of course. For his skills here, we have all of the skills leveled up, and he has quite a bit of stuff going on with his skills. So his first skill here has decrease mind blast and mind resist minus 30%, which is very, very weird wording and like a new tag there, mind blast. I don't really remember seeing that anywhere else. And this mind resist does not appear to be the same as mind resistance down. Since it says resist instead of resistance, apparently it's a little different, or at least it doesn't have the same icon when I use this skill in the skill preview. So I'm assuming that it is not going to be the same effect as mind resistance down. Basically, it just looks like a mind control, like a new word for mind control. So he has 1 second of mind control here. It ignores immunity, so it does work on the boss. That's the only thing I've noticed when using this skill. The second skill here also had the same thing. It has that mind blast and mind resist. Again, it just looks like a 1 second mind control to kind of like knock the enemy out of whatever skill they're using, or pause them for a second while he is able to get this skill off. The third skill here has the same thing for that mind control. It ignores immunity, except this time it is 2 seconds instead of 1 second. He gets a guard for 8 hits, and then he buffs his own attack, defense, and just that 1% all speed, which he could use a little bit more all speed than that. The fourth skill here is going to have incapacitation, which is nice, and then he has that mind blast again for 2 seconds, so he has that on every skill, I believe. I need to check the fifth skill again. And then he has finally mind resistance. As you can see here, they do completely separate those. Mind resistance down, it is minus 40%, ignores immunity, so it does work on world bosses, and it does minus 10%, so it will stack up very quickly to that minus 40%. And then finally, the fifth skill here. So this one actually, for some reason, says mind control for 1 second. And this does seem to have like an active kind of radius. So it'll keep hitting the enemy. So it looks like that mind control does keep getting refreshed while using this skill. So it's not just 1 second. It's for the entire time that you actually see the animation of the skill going off. And then he also has the mind blast, so I'm not sure why they have it separated. Again, it's really weird, whatever this mind blast, if it's a different kind of mind control or something like that. But either way, he's got both mind control and mind blast on that skill. One of them's 3 seconds, one of them's 1 second. He's got a 15% HP recovery here, so it'll help out with his survivability quite a bit. He's got invincibility on this skill, which is fantastic. And then he accumulates true damage dealt to the enemy to increase his attack a little bit more. Doesn't look like it's anything substantial, something like 10% all attack there. And you can use, or you can move around while using this skill. As you can see, move using the V pad while using this skill. So yeah, that's what we're looking at here for those skills. The passive is 90% chance to become immune to mind damage. And again, he does mind damage on all of his skills. Even though the 5th skill is not tagged as mind damage, it looks like it's, yeah, mind damage, 100% of energy attack, additional 107 mind damage. So it is mind damage. So everything's mind damage for Professor X here. His leadership is going to apply to mutant allies, and it's just going to be a 20% all attack with mind resist up by 50%. I mean, we are getting a lot more mind damage characters. I don't really know if this will be any kind of worthwhile to use. That just 20% all attack doesn't really seem worth it, so I don't think we're really going to be using him much for his leadership there. Then we go to his tier 2 passive, increases mind damage by 20%, increase skill damage by 20%, and bonus damage by 5%. And finally, his tier 3 skill. So his tier 3 skill here is going to have that mind blast again. This time is for 5 seconds. I'm still not sure why that has that minus 30 there. I need to figure out what this mind blast is, but again, even when using him in combat and stuff like that, they have different icons. The mind blast and mind resist are combined together in one icon, and when I use it, they have that same little kind of like the fear aura above their head, little purple like streaks spinning around their head kind of thing, and they don't move, so it just seems like a mind control. And then you got the mind resist down again, minus 40%, and it does minus 10 each hit, so it'll stack up pretty quickly. He ignores target's dodge by 100%, so you can't dodge this attack. He has 80% chance to penetrate, it looks like, everything. He has 10 seconds of invincibility, and he increases the attack damage by 20% for the one attack. So very small kind of like damage boost right there. What I've got on him right now is Power Angry Hulk. We didn't really have a lot of ISOs to work with here on the test account, so this is where it's going to be at, stage 5. And then for the Obelisk here, or CTP in this case, I decided to go with a CTP of Destruction because that's pretty close to what you can get for a regular Obelisk. So I kind of like using this one for initial testing. It just makes it so I know I always have the stats that I want: the guard break immunity, some crit damage, and a damage proc. And you can easily get that on a regular Obelisk. So this is what I would equate to as pretty close to just a regular Obelisk kind of build on him in terms of what damage you'll see in PvE content. Of course, that extra penetration will help a little bit in PvP, so keep that in mind. But for Professor X here, it doesn't look like he actually needs that guard break immunity, so you can get away with something else without the guard break immunity, double mind damage and proc or something like that, or crit rate, crit damage, whatever you want with mind damage and a proc. So yeah, he seems pretty flexible on what kind of Obelisk or CTP you can use on him. So now that we've kind of looked at that, let's go ahead and jump into World Boss over here and see what we're looking like for the damage. So he is energy attack. He is elemental, so we already know he's going to do very well against Ebony. And since I don't really have a very high stage unlocked for Ebony here, it's not really worth it to show you Ebony. He basically just wrecks Ebony, which is what you would expect, so I can't really get a good kind of damage comparison with no strikers at stage 37 on Ebony. He just melts them. So I'm gonna go over here to Cold Obsidian because he's a little more resilient. We do have stage 39 that I'm trying out. We can go all the way up to stage just 42, but all of those have blade twisters, so I kind of just went down to stage 39, so I didn't have to deal with those. The team I was using is right here. We have Kitty for her leadership, and then we have Coulson for his tier 2 passive, and then finally we have a team up right here for the Headmasters, which is all attack and crit damage. It's actually quite a nice team up right there. And then we're going in without any strikers just to see what his raw damage is like. So for Professor X here, kind of the skill rotation that I like to use is I use the 4th skill, and then I cancel it almost right away. It's like as soon as he jumps into the air. And then I hop into the 5th skill and I try to get my damage proc there, and I just let it play out, even though you can cancel the 5th skill and still kind of get the residual damage. But let's go ahead and show that real quick. So we're loading up. Let's switch on over. So I just go boom, he hops up in the air like that, and then I just hop right into the 5th skill. As you can see, the damage is quite nice with him. That's almost a full bar right there. Oh, we're gonna get time frozen. So now we'll try that again. As you can see here, And then we did not get our obelisk to proc almost at all for that, so that's a little annoying. And then you can go in here if you want to get a little bit of that extra mind control. See, that's that mind blast. It just looks like mind control. Then, oh, we had our, I was going to show off the tier 3 here. Tier 3 looks pretty cool. As you can see, the clock was stopped during that, so if you do have the animations turned on, then you're not going to be wasting time. And we completely missed our damage proc there, but as you can see, it's a very, very cool animation for that skill. So I really like the animation from the tier 3 skill. That is quite nice. Because he hops into Cerebro, it shows him locating all of the mutants and just, yeah, just doing damage, I guess. But overall, it looks like the 5th skill is going to be one of the best skills to, of course, do your damage proc on. And then the tier 3 skill does actually seem to do the same or even a little bit less damage than the 5th skill when I get the damage proc, so I'm letting it build up a little bit here. Alright, so, alright, well, that went off again, so let's wait. I'm trying to get the tier 3 with the damage proc, but for some reason it doesn't want to cooperate. The 4-5 combo seems to be working just fine, but whenever I do the 4 tier 3 skill combo, it does not. So let's see if we get there. There we go. So now it's proccing. As you can see, we're getting... Okay, maybe there's a little more. That was probably a bar and like a quarter, a bar and a quarter or something like that, where the 5th skill was just a little under a bar. So it's probably about 30% more damage or something like that, it looks like. But either way, they're pretty similar in damage. But if we use the 5th skill, as you can see, that ring right there, you can cancel out of that ring and it still kind of stays there, and you keep getting the mind control and all the effects that you want. So if you wanted to try proccing on another skill, which not really sure what other skill could do a lot of damage, maybe the 3rd skill, because the 4th skill cancels out quite quickly. So we can just go right here, go here, and then try to proc on the 3rd skill or something like that. So you can mess around a little bit with the rotation when you end up getting your hands on him for yourself. But I like the 4 cancel 5 combo and then the 4 cancel tier 3 for my rotation, and just kind of kite around a little bit, or use the 3rd skill right after the 5th skill for that extra little bit of mind control, and then run around and just wait for him to come off of cooldown. So that's how Professor X is looking for me. Overall, he looks really solid. I like the damage. He's got a lot of stuff going on for all of his skills. So he looks like he's going to be a really strong character. So I can't wait to get my hands on him on, like I said, my live, or in the live server of the game, so I could see how he works for me on my account. But over here in the APK, I'm happy with him. He looks like he's going to be pretty strong. He looks like he's going to be have great survivability and great damage, and that was with a CTP of destruction. So like I said, you can get similar results with just a regular obelisk, even better results if you do a mind damage with a damage proc obelisk. Yeah, so that's going to be my initial impressions of Professor X here. If you want to stick around, I am going to throw on like a few other CTPs on him, a CTP of energy and a CTP of rage, and just see how the damage compares. But if not, then I will catch you guys in the next video. So let's go ahead and switch over to the next CTP and see how he does with those. Alright, so here we are loading in with a CTP of energy. It is the same as the CTP of destruction. It is a 180 proc. So we have a CTP of energy with a 180 proc for this kind of damage test right here. So we'll see how much more or less, well, he shouldn't be doing less, but how much more damage he'll do than a CTP of destruction. Oh, well, we missed the proc right away, so I guess we'll just have to move on to the next rotation here. Calm down, Cole. Alright, here we go. And we are getting... Ooh, that was a bit more damage. That was probably, what, a bar and a third? Yeah, that's like a bar and a third. So now let's build up to our tier 3. We'll do this again. So let's see if it really was about a bar and a third. I mean, that looks pretty close. Maybe a bar and a quarter instead of a bar and a third. Either way, that's a bit more damage. And of course, we missed the proc again. Doesn't seem to want to cooperate. The tier 3 and the damage proc do not want to line up for me. Alright, so let's just spam through skills here and try to get that tier 3 built up. Alright, just give me that tier 3 skill. That's all I want. Just build that up, build that up. There we go. Alright, there we go. Don't trigger the proc. And there we go. Alright, so how much damage are we going to get here with the CTP of energy on the tier 3 skill? Okay. that didn't look much better than the CTP of Destruction, if I'm being honest. So it looks like CTP of Energy is going to be a lot better for the 5-4 or for the 4-5 combo, but that tier 3 skill didn't seem to hit as hard, or it was pretty much hit about the same as before. So it looks like there wasn't enough hits maybe to take advantage of it, whereas with the 5th skill there was a lot more hits. Either way, it looks like so far CTP of Energy is probably going to be the better option out of the CTP of Destruction, CTP of Energy. Of course, a Mind Damage proc Obelisk, I would assume, or I think, would be a little bit better than both, but I'm not 100% on that because I don't have one to test. So now let's move on to a CTP of Rage. Alright, so now we're loading in with the CTP of Rage to do the final test here. I'm assuming that this is going to be the best option just because of how strong the CTP of Rage is, but let's see how much different the damage is compared to the other two CTPs. Alright, let's see what we get here. Oh, actually, that damage is not much better, is it? Huh. Yeah, that doesn't look to be like significantly better actually than the other CTPs. So you just go with a standard damage proc on him. It looks like actually it might be a lot better for the tier 3 skill, but that's about it. Yeah, so just a regular damage proc or it's like a CTP of Energy on him, I think would actually probably be the best. I mean, of course, I'd say like over the course of the entire fight, the CTP of Rage is going to edge out just because you're going to be using more skills more frequently, because as you can see here, I can just spam through all of the skills, whereas when I was using these regular proc CTPs, I was lining it up with the 5-4, and then I was kind of just kiting around a little bit after that, waiting for the skills to come off of cooldown, whereas with the Rage here, I can just keep rotating through all of my skills, so overall, you know, I'll get more damage in the long run, but in terms of just the most damaging skills when the proc or the activation happens, it seems like the CTP of Energy is the highest burst damage. Yeah, so that's going to be my impressions here with the different CTPs. Again, that's going to be it for this video here. This is just my initial impressions, and remember, things can change from now until the final version, but hopefully you guys enjoyed nonetheless, and I will, of course, catch you in the next one.